Eugene MaySky organized Russia's first gay pride event in 1999. He's been an emperor of the Imperial Court twice. He's a tenant organizer fighting for housing justice, and he's spent over a decade leading the Russian-speaking LGBTQ plus community in Los Angeles. Today, he's here to talk about what it means to be a queer immigrant, to create a home in exile, and to keep showing up for your community, for the people coming behind you, and for the people who have nowhere else to go. Thank you so much for being on the episode, Eugene.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here.
It's an honor to have you, honestly.
This is Unpacking the Closet Season 4, Rooted in Community. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Caitlin. Let's get into it. We're very excited. So we were just talking about the amazing thing that happened for you with your tenant organization in LA. Do you want to talk to us about it?
Actually, it just happened last night. We got a city council in West Hollywood city council meeting last night. We got a mayor's and city council proclamation for CES, for Coalition for Economic Survival, after 53 years of tenant empowerment, organizing of tenants. We got an award last night. It's a proclamation from Mayor Heilman, who's been a great supporter of tenants' rights. He's one of the fathers of the city of West Hollywood and one of the people who actually been from the very beginning supporters of Coalition for Economic Survival. And my
Amazing.
work as a tenant organizer and fighter for tenants' rights. So it was an honor to receive that proclamation on behalf of CES and Larry Gross, our executive director. I went there with tenants who work with us and volunteer with our organization to help tenants just like the ones that we work with. So now we have Tenant Leadership Council,
Wow.
just tenants willing to help tenants just like them.
That's
It's a
amazing.
great kind of new generation of people who are not only care about themselves, believe it or not, there are people like that, which I love. We got the proclamation. We also got a donation. This year is very unfortunately the last year of John Heilman on the city council.
Mm.
But what he's doing is every month he donating his, not huge, but he's donating his salary to every important organization that is working and serving West Hollywood community. And this time it was CES, Coalition for Economic Survival. And he donated this month's his salary to us, which was
Wow.
also a very important thing. We
That's
have
amazing.
501c3 nonprofits. So, we are a nonprofit organization living and supporting tenants for 53 years. So it's all goes back to the community. It's all goes back to the tenants. It's important to support them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
with 501c3s, it's hard to get funding. And I imagine for something like this. So congratulations. That's a
Thank you.
huge honor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, the ability to receive that from John Heilman was an important thing. And having tenants there
Yeah.
who I work with on a daily and weekly basis. We do door-to-door outreach. We walk around with flyers and talk to tenants about weekly clinics that we have and support that we provide. Tenants can, for free, talk to best tenants' rights attorneys. And the most vulnerable communities, as you can imagine, is the older adults
Mm-hmm.
and LGBT community.
Mhm.
So landlords are not very keen very often on people who live there longer because they're pay under market.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they
Yes.
attack them first and want to
Mhm.
evict them first. And they're also very not keen on the LGBT community. And they think, "Oh, we'll just get rid of them because they're trans or their gender expression is not something that we want in our building." So our job is to empower tenants to stand up for their rights and make sure that they can use everything that the city provides, all mechanism and processes and everything that at their disposal to fight for their rights. We have great attorneys volunteering every Wednesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday at 10 a.m. on Zoom. We speak 8 languages in the clinic.
Wow.
We
Mhm.
we provide services for disabled tenants also. So we make sure that tenants are taken care of and our community can come to us for assistance with tenants' rights. We also make sure that we put flyers in all the LGBT clubs and Vico. So that's also an outreach that we do
Yeah.
because I might be not a great gay because I'm not often in the clubs, only when I do fundraisers, But yeah, they're gonna take my gay card one of these days for sure, because I haven't been in the club since a long time ago.
Uh,
But
I was out there for Pride, and I don't know if you're missing
that's it.
very much.
Yeah.
That I did. I was on the Pride float with the Imperial Court, with
You
the
go?
flag, with our reigning Empress Lucinda Rear, with our
Mm.
4M winners. Every year, Imperial Court does this contest that we do for Pride.
Uh-huh.
LA Pride winners, we do 4Ms. Miss, which is a non-binary title,
Mhm.
and Miss. So every year the community chooses, all of LA, greater LA area community chooses these 4 titles. We give them crowns and sashes, but besides that kind of like festive part, crowns and sashes are great. What they do is they actually go into the community and fundraise on a daily basically basis, because what they raise, the money they raise goes back into the community for educational scholarships. They raise money for something important. At some point, we had a scholarships for DACA recipients, the dreamers.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
also, on a yearly basis, so we give out scholarships, educational scholarships to LGBT plus community members who are willing to either continue their education or just start the education process. We all know how expensive education is.
Oh,
Very.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
provide that support to them when
Yeah.
nobody else is doing this or it's very scarce. It's
Yeah.
important to us.
That's amazing.
That's kind of
Yeah.
like part of the work. Sorry, I jumped into.
No,
No.
that's great. We love it. So I'd love to go back to 1999. You organized Russia's first gay pride event. What was that like? What did it take to do that work in that moment?
Surprisingly, after the fall of the Soviet Union, Russia had a little bit of a political warm up, and there was a lot of new freedom that Russia
Mm.
gained. It was way before the current regime
Mm.
Mhm.
that is basically literally treating LGBT community as extremists and terrorists. That's how they call the community over there now.
Yeah.
At the time, at the end of 90s, beginning of 2000s, there was a spark of political freedom in Russia. So there was a group of people, group of entertainment agents, and a group of progressive people, artists, and everybody who believed in creating a festival that would be sort of like a first event created for LGBT community in Russia, specifically in St. Petersburg. I worked with the agent who booked at the time the first trans winner of the Eurovision.
Mm.
All of you probably know the song Diva. It's
Yes.
the Israeli winner of the contest.
Hmm.
She was a beautiful winner and she still is a brilliant artist. So we invited her to be a part of our festival. She was the headliner of that festival.
Wow.
And we also invited multiple Russian artists. Some of them were part of the community, most of them were. The event happened in, believe it or not, a sports stadium that fits about 20,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
And it was sold out.
Wow.
Wow.
It had so many people that it had specific, like, sort of like controls and people standing to check tickets in 2 rows, basically, because so many people wanted to attend this concert.
Mm.
it was called Голубой Шторм, which means blue storm. The word
Mm.
blue means gay in Russian. It's a double meaning of
Ah.
that word. So, and we had, the famous statue in Moscow where there's a man and a woman holding a hammer and a
Mm.
sickle together. That famous statue. So we had two guys standing like that on the poster.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah. And there was a blue poster with that statue on it. It
Mm.
was called Blue Storm. And we had a lot of artists performing. And it was a very cool event. It was a very cool concert. I did a press conference in the biggest club. I was translating for our Israeli guest, and she was very surprised that so many people wanted to attend this event. She was very surprised because Russia at the time wasn't a place for gay pride, sort of like not welcoming to gay pride, let's
Mm.
just say that.
Well,
But
my
surprise,
understanding is the culture isn't very queer friendly.
there is a contradiction that I think we should kind of like touch upon
Yeah,
for just a
please.
second. Russians were never homophobic deeply inside. The politics that are currently running this extremely homophobic, transphobic, LGBT-phobic regime, they kind of brainwashed people to distract them from stealing all the money from pensions and people.
Sounds familiar.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Thank you for
Where
that.
have we
That's
seen this
exactly how it
before?
is.
Where are we seeing it now?
Yes, you ladies caught the exact truth that was in the they started blaming Europe for everything, calling it a gay Europa, and they blamed the West and America for everything because who else you gonna scapegoat? When
Right.
that wasn't enough, they started blaming gays for lesbians for
Mhm.
everything because of course they are to blame for prices for gas or prices for eggs or
Yeah.
prices for salad, prices for vodka or anything else. Gays are
No.
to blame for basically everything
Of
under the sun.
course.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
All the gay owners of oil.
Oil
Right.
and the poultry farms that
Yeah.
produce eggs and everything. Yeah.
Right, because
We
we
all know
own
how it
everything.
works.
We do.
Of course we do. Yes. And we usually meet and talk about how we're going to raise the prices for eggs.
Of
That's what
course.
we do.
Of
Yes.
course.
But the
It's
thing
part of the
is,
gay agenda. That's our Friday.
absolutely it is. Who's the lovely friend of yours?
My dogs. I just got home from work and they're like going crazy because I didn't pet them. Well, I pet them, but they didn't get snuggles. I'm
I'm off my
recording.
spiel because that's the love. That's the one love that will knock me off any spiel that I will talk about. This is the love I have in life that I can't be serious about anything
I
when I
know.
see somebody like that.
I
You're
know.
so
I
lucky that you have companions like this.
I know.
Lovely.
We love
Anyways,
animals.
yeah,
Yes.
we do. We absolutely do love it. So they kind of like blame, as always, they blame scapegoating on the LGBT community for everything. So they started like bringing that agenda that's kind of like brainwashing everybody to think West is to blame for everything and the LGBT community is to blame for everything. But general population in Russia, yes, they had jokes about people having special kind of sex.
Sure.
Yes.
Too.
There are anecdotes about butt fucking, of course. Like, there's no life without people making jokes about all of that. But the thing is, it was all in like kind of anecdote, fun, kind of funny jokes. It was never deep rooted to the point where people would literally start hunting people on the streets. It never was like that in all times during the Soviet Union. It was like more of a, look, faggots. Like
Yeah.
it was, judging by current times, it was completely inappropriate. But it was more like in the way how you forgive your drunk uncle at Christmas dinner than something deeply rooted in hate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
It feels
didn't they didn't hate us. They more of like kind of looked at us as the oddity. The government made it a political sort of like argument to blame for everything. Like they made it a scapegoating argument. And this became a government sanctioned homophobia that causes violence. Because if your government doesn't say stuff like, ooh, they are blamed for everything, people in general don't go hunting for LGBT people on the streets. They just don't
Right.
care enough.
Yeah,
They
they're
might
living their
say
life, doing their
they
thing.
exactly. They care about their family. They care about getting paid. They care about going on vacation once a year somewhere or twice a year for winter holidays and somewhere in the summer. They care about the animals. They care about the kids or whatever they do. They don't really care about how other people live. It's all becomes a political argument when somebody needs to oppress somebody to distract the crowds. They
Right.
need to distract the attention. So that becomes a political argument. So initially, Russians were not that deeply homophobic. I don't believe that. But
So
in the
you
last
were
20
able
years,
to put on this event because the climate wasn't quite at this homophobic point
it was not
yet.
horrendously homophobic. Yes, we got a lot of pushback. Absolutely, we got a pushback, including pushback from inspectors. We got a pushback from like some of the big wigs in police or big wigs in like, like fire department, or we got pushbacks from some politicians at the time too. But it wasn't something like right now it would be impossible even to think about. People are getting arrested just by posting something. A
I
girl
heard
got
people are
arrested because,
disappearing, like straight up
yes,
disappearing at this point. Yeah.
straight girl got arrested because she bought and wore earrings that in the shape of frogs, but the stones were laid in the colors of the rain. She's straight, has nothing to do with LGBT, but her frog earrings in the colors of the rainbow. She got fined and arrested for LGBT propaganda. At
Lord.
what point of insanity we are? What
Yeah.
is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get to planet Earth where we are actually normal people, reasonable normal people? Somebody posts something about I love peace and I would like peace in the world, and they get fined and arrested and put in some work camp, somebody in Siberia. Get real, people. This is not normal.
Well, it's not
When,
much different, unfortunately, to what's happening today. Like
yeah,
the person who pulled the paint that was chipping off in the reflecting pool, and they arrested them. And you're like, for what reason? Like, all they did was see this piece of paint floating in the water and take it off, and then they're arrested. And
I didn't hear that story. I didn't know.
yeah. When they tried to arrest a reporter who was here for, I'm assuming all of the stuff happening right now with, the World Cup and everything, but they were there
Oh,
at the reflecting pool. It was a reporter from another country. I want to say Sweden or Switzerland or something. And she was reporting on the reflecting pool and how it looked. And they tried to arrest her as well, just for reporting on it.
yeah, that's, it used to be a joke that I came from one dictator and ended up with another, but now it's becoming less of a joke and more of a scary story, and not the scary movie, but really scary story.
Yeah.
The thing
You-
is, sorry.
No, please go on.
The thing is, I had a discussion recently. There's a movie that the Russian-speaking LGBT nonprofit that I'm involved with. It's actually a first Russian LGBT nonprofit in the United States. They're finishing a movie. We're finishing a full-on documentary about the Russian-speaking LGBT community in the United States.
Wow.
And they recently interviewed me about different aspects of Russian-speaking LGBT community in the United States, refugees and everything else, because we've had an immense amount of, like an influx of people because of war in Ukraine, because of extreme laws in Russia and everything else. And they asked me basically, do you see the light at the end of the tunnel? And I said no, because I lived 7 out of my 9 lives at this point, and I've seen Soviet Union, the disbandment or dissolution of Soviet Union, the changing secretaries of Communist Party when they were dying every 2 years. Then I saw the military coup. Then I saw Gorbachev and Perestroika. Then I saw the multiple changes that happened after that. Then I saw Russia at the political warm-up. Then I saw the closing of everything. And then I saw what's happening now at the beginning. And now I see what's going on there right now. Over the last 50 years, I've seen so many changes over there. I don't believe that currently we have somebody or some political party or some person who can come and stay in that country. So when they asked me, do you see a light at the end of the tunnel? I said no. And the interviewer asked me, well, do you believe that light is basically has to be reflected at as many people as possible? And if we get enough of the rational, good people, maybe the light will reflect and we'll see that light. But the light has to come from somewhere. There should be a source of light. And currently, I don't see a source of light because I think everybody and anybody who could be an alternative to the current regime was eliminated in the last 15, 20 years, one way or another. I'm sorry, I'm bringing this party down completely.
I mean, I think
That's
these are like real issues that are
Yeah, they are.
that we're facing in the world right now.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
I don't think it does us any good to turn away from the difficulties that we see. I think the question is maybe we don't see that right now, but what can we do to create change? And I see that you are working in many different organizations and have a plethora of experience in knowing when to leave and what to do when you're facing difficulties in your country. So I'm curious, you knew when it was time to go. What did it feel like to leave that behind and rebuild here?
It was probably one of the toughest decisions that I've had to make ever. I worked to create my professional career since I was a kid. I went to work on the radio when I was 8 years old. First it was the kids entertainment department and kids radio shows and everything else that I went to work on TV. And my whole life I've been basically working on radio and on TV to build a career in my industry, which is entertainment, mass media. I then went on to build 7 radio stations over there, help build the first and probably the only syndication network under MTV Radio brand that had 185 radio stations. We built that under our office in London, and we successfully launched multiple MTV radio programs there. And we've built a lot of different things. And all of that was to do basically good, like in general, to bring light and to bring happiness to people. And at some point, I realized that my desire to bring joy and happiness to people is no longer not necessarily needed, but not reciprocated over there, because with several events that happened to me there and with whatever's been happening at the time, I realized that the safety is very important. My own safety is very important. And just in
Absolutely.
general, I wanted to work with the community in a different way. I wanted to create a nonprofit organization, like a charity organization that would help people, LGBT communities specifically. But it wasn't possible over there because and I left a long time ago, but even when I was leaving, I already knew that it was not a possibility. So I had to leave my home. I had to leave my family, my parents, my friends, my job, my summer house, like everything. Basically, packed one suitcase, sat on a flight for 17 hours, and came to the country where I've never been before. One suitcase, and started everything from scratch at 39 years old. That was an experience that was interesting because I think starting from scratch it helps you to gain perspective. I didn't have any crown on my head in terms of like, I didn't come here and say, okay, give me a corner office because I deserve it. Thank
Yeah.
God I didn't have any of that. I came here, I was ready to wash the plates, wash the floors, whatever is needed. I was absolutely ready to do whatever was needed to be done. So that saved me, I think, because survival after building your life for a very long time, survival is crucial.
Mm.
For the first year, I had to move 8 times because finding a place to live is extremely hard. Getting a job, even with a great resume in Europe and in Russia, for everything you've done over there, it doesn't mean anything over here. You basically start from scratch because nobody knows of any of the companies or any of the radio stations or TV channels or any of the stuff that you've done there. You basically start from scratch. So that was an interesting thing. And actually, that specific experience kind of like immediately pushed me to, as soon as I got a little bit kind of like a baseline of, yeah, okay, I can breathe a little bit. I started trying to help people like me who just arrived and they were able to like come here legally and like get their bearings basically. So I started figuring out how can I
Mm.
help them? What do they need? But for a long time, it was basically me and maybe people that I've built relationship with. I started volunteering with the city of West Hollywood almost the second week when I arrived here. I couldn't work when I arrived here. I was waiting for the work permit.
Mm-hmm.
So only thing I could do is volunteer. So I started volunteering the second week. And third week here, I got introduced to the Imperial Court. So I started volunteering with them. So immediately my time was fully kind of like scheduled. I got immersed into what I actually wanted to do. A nonprofit that's been serving LGBT community for like 50 years. And I got to work with the city of Los Hollywood, which I love. So that kind of like became my saving grace, I believe, because if it wasn't for those two, I don't know if I would be able to say I found my home here.
Mm.
It's important to have a purpose in life.
Yeah.
And I think helping people and being useful became my purpose, which helped me to make a transition.
Yeah. Now, I do because I know we've mentioned it a couple times now. Do you think that you could kind of explain the Imperial Court for maybe some of our
Yeah.
listeners who don't know what it is? And what does that work mean? What do you guys do? I know you've been elected twice. How did that feel?
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. A long time ago, a Second World War veteran decided to run for office. It was before Harvey Milk.
Mm.
His name was Jose Sarria, and he decided to run for one of the offices, like political office, like a commissioner. Didn't win, but decided to organize this sort of nonprofit organization. At the time, it was like half social club, half nonprofit organization, which became an imperial court. He pronounced himself, he was a drag queen also. Pronounced himself Empress One, Mama Jose, how we call her. And it's been now more than 60 years of noble deeds. Imperial Court now works in 3 countries, United States, Canada, and Mexico, and has more
Wow.
than 95 chapters, local chapters, including red states too.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
We are one of the few, maybe the one LGBT nonprofit organizations that has chapters in red state. What we do is basically we fundraise for the LGBT community. We choose our charities every year. Every year is called the Rain. Basically, the structure of the organization sort of loosely based on the imperial court, historic imperial court, specifically like a Russian imperial court, for example.
Mhm.
Okay.
So there's an emperor and empress. And now we have a third line for non-binary people, which is called emprex.
Oh, very
That's
cool.
relatively new thing. They are elected by the community. It's not a monarchy. It's a monarchy just by title, but they are elected by the whole of community. So it's very democratic organization. What happens is these people spearhead their local chapter into fundraising for local charity. So basically, they put on drag shows, they do charity auctions, they do food drives, they create clothes drives, or they do whatever they can for the whole year they are elected for to raise money for their community. And then there's another coronation. It's like a big ball where everybody dresses in crowns and gowns. And it's the most beautiful event. I need to invite you actually to
Yeah.
our LA and Hollywood coronation this November.
Oh,
I
very
hope you can come.
exciting.
That would
I
be
want you to
amazing.
come and enjoy this coronation. It's going to be a beautiful one. We are surprisingly at 57th coronation. That means LA chapter has been around for 57 years.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, it's a long time to be. I've been involved for 11 years, but the whole chapter has been around for 57 years. And
Wow.
organization in general just celebrated 60 years recently.
Wow, what a
amazing.
long time.
Yeah, we're the longest running LGBT organization in the world.
Wow.
Wow.
What a title.
I know.
And the head of the organization is our Queen Mother. Queen Mother is somebody who inspires a lot of our main project, and she actually the one who brought me in to work with. We have an organization that's called Imperial Court Council, and Queen Mother Nicole asked me to be a part of the Imperial Court Council when we come up with the main priority project. She's been reigning for 20 years to make sure that we serve our community, we take our responsibilities to the community very seriously. Obviously, all of the chapters are run on volunteer. Nobody's getting paid for it. It's full on volunteer based organizations. It's a 501c3. So all of us work on donations and everything goes back to the community. So the board members are volunteers and everybody volunteered their time for this. From the outsider point of view, it looks like, oh, these people like to dress up. And yes, it's fundraising with the big letters FUN. Fun. In real life, it's a little bit more than that because day to day, week to week, it sometimes looks like a real work because sometimes we have to help refugees. We have to go around the city to collect clothes, old mobile phones, we have to find them a place to stay. We need to find them shelter, food. We need to find them. They go to DPSS with them to make sure that they have everything that they need if they can get any benefit. We need to make sure that they have doctor's appointments because some of them are monolingual and they need translation. We need to make sure if they arrive with family and kids that the kids are enrolled in school. There's a lot of issues, but all of that stays with us behind the scenes. Most of the people see the crowns and gowns, of course.
I think that goes for like so many LGBT organizations too, as people will see like the performance and the smiles of how we present ourselves to other people because we need that to keep going. And how else are we going to express ourselves? Just be sad all the time. I mean, there's so much to be sad about. I'm a social worker. So when you're talking about all of these like systemic issues, I mean, with housing and funding and food and all of these things, it's just these things are what we take for granted most of the time. And when people come in and don't have these things, it's like, what do you do? And we're working within a system that is very broken. So we, as queer people, have to find a way to hack the system and get through it. And I think one of the ways we do that best is working in community. And so to other people, sure, it looks like crowns and gowns and drag performances and whatever, but that is how we have gotten through it and raising money and throwing events so that people can attend and throw money at it so we can give it to the people that need it.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I would argue also lifting spirits because sometimes that is more important than anything else is keeping spirits high, in times where it's hard.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I believe that drag performers play a huge role in spreading
100%.
love and joy and making sure that we have this sort of spark of love and fun and this amazing art. And when they do what they do, when they perform, they bring this sort of like kid-like spirit into all of us. We want to have fun. We want to dance. We want to express ourselves. We want to throw dollar bills at them because they're doing God's work, because they bring love and fun and joy back into our lives.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Absolutely.
do important work, and a lot of people like our chapter sort of. We have our own Mother Teresa. We call her Mother Karina. She is one of the leading trans activists in
Mhm.
United States. She's been around for many years as a fighter for trans rights. She created the first in United States transgender
Mm.
advisory board with the
Mhm.
city of West Hollywood.
Mhm.
And then, based on that experience, created Transgender Advisory Council with the city of Los Angeles. And then a couple of other cities in different states picked up that experience and created their own transgender advisory boards in their states for their city councils.
Wow.
So Mother Karina is doing that work for many years, changing policies, working with LAPD to create policy of interacting with trans individuals, with LGBT individuals during the police interactions, or making sure that trans people have housing, or making sure that they have medical care. St. John's Clinic, St. John's Community Health, they've been our partners for many years, making sure that trans individuals have care that they deserve and care on the level that they deserve. APIT is another nonprofit partner that's been around for many years that we've been working with. They provide mental health, HIV, STD testing. They have mobile testing stations. They have shelter for trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming individuals and LGBT individuals, individuals with mental health issues. So growing partnerships and networks is how we survive as LGBT individuals, because nobody's going to take care of us if we as family within community don't take care of each other.
Absolutely. And I think that's so well said.
Yeah. Speaking of things that tend to keep spirits high, another thing is music. And I know that you organize Classical Night in May, a fundraiser with world class musicians, and all the proceeds go to Casa de Luz shelter. And I know you talked about how media has been kind of integral in your life in general since you were little. What made you choose music and culture as your vehicle for activism?
That's an interesting thing. Going a little bit personal, my mom is a classical musician.
Oh,
She's a
wow.
violinist.
That's
And
wonderful.
I grew up in a house where I heard violin my whole life since I was
Mm.
born, basically. My mom played her whole life in one of the greatest Russian theaters in St. Petersburg, Mariinsky Theater. And she
Oh,
also taught in the music school. She taught violin to kids. So both at the same time her whole life.
mm,
And I grew up around that sort of beautiful
mhm.
music. As a kid, I didn't appreciate it that much because I was, of course, forced to study violin and then piano and everything
We
else.
always appreciate more when we get older.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the bummer of the situation. We
Ah,
appreciate great things when we are 100 years old,
yeah.
like me. But the thing is, if I only could come back and then learn and soak up the knowledge and everything else, that would be an amazing thing. But it is
Yeah.
what it is. I sort of like pay homage to the beautiful heritage that I have. But our actually Mayor John Heilman helped me create the very first classical night many years
Mhm.
ago. This year in this May, we had the ninth annual classical night in May. And that's the sort of event that came out of two different things. First, when I came here, people were looking at me, and when I found out where I came from, they thought of me as the person who drinks vodka,
Mm.
breaks into other people's computers because they thought I'm a hacker, of course, because I'm Russian.
Are you a
And,
spy too?
oh, and that's the third thing. So
Yep.
they thought I drink vodka, I'm a spy, and I'm a hacker. So I don't drink at all. I've never drank in my life. I'm very not great with computers. I'm okay to survive in like Gmail and Microsoft Office, whatever I need for work. But far cry from hacking anything. I wish that would be cool to be a white hat. That would be amazing. One of my favorite movies of all time was Hackers with
Mm.
Angelina Jolie, Johnny Lee Miller.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
that
What
movie.
a great
It's one of the
movie.
greatest movies. But yeah, I would. And the third one's being a spy. No, as my mom always used to say, you have this thing. Everybody can read your face like a book. You need to learn to do something with it. So yeah, you can read my face. All my emotions are here 24/7. So I wouldn't be a very good one if I would. So I kind of decided, all right, how can I represent the Russian speaking community in the best way possible? What do we produce besides matryoshkas, the Russian doll, bears in the streets, and vodka, those stereotypes? We produce basically the best classical musicians in the world.
Mhm.
That was my thought process. And people make fun of me when I tell that story.
Hmm.
Friend of mine actually wrote a book.
Oh, good
We
to
did a
know.
presentation for her book in West Hollywood a while ago. She traveled all over Soviet Union and she wrote that book based on her travel from
Mm.
the most western to most eastern part of the whole continent. She met the same people over 20 years, every five
Wow.
years, traveling on train the whole length of
Wow.
Wow,
it.
that's a long way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge continent. The Eurasia continent is
Uh-huh.
huge. So,
Yes.
so she traveled the whole continent several times every 5 years, meeting the same people. And she wrote this book that she ironically titled "Bears in the Street."
Good
It's a
title.
it's a really good title. It's a good book. And the author of that book is Lisa Dickey. She is really cool. And we had a presentation for that book like a while ago here. Madeleine Albright actually wrote excerpt, like a little comment for the backside of that book. And she wrote that the book was very important. It's like a character study of the same people over a 20-year
Mm.
period. Every five
I'll have
years,
to
Lisa
read
would
it.
meet. It's a cool book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds
It's a cool
really
book.
interesting.
It's a
Yeah, I
cool
love
book because she met with the same people.
yeah.
Soviet Union, then Russia, then changing Russia, then new Russia under Putin already. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that at least from my understanding being that I am now married to Ola, who is Russian. There's a lot of misconceptions about Russia in general. I think we just have a lack of information in the United States, whether that be purposeful or not, I don't know. But it's really interesting to hear you speak about like the stereotypes even I knew what they were.
Yeah.
Like going down the line, right? And
Yeah.
classical
the
music is actually something that does come
yeah,
to mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
Classical music and ballet. I think of
Ballet,
oh,
ballet.
yes.
for sure. For
Yes.
sure. Ballet is for sure. My mom actually, her orchestra traveled with a ballet called Red Giselle.
Mm.
They traveled all over United States, Canada, and they went to all of Latin America with that ballet. And they also traveled
Wow.
all over Asia with that ballet. And it was a great experience because that ballet is actually still running. It's been like, I don't know, 20,
Wow.
20 years. It still exists. But the interesting part, stereotypes, I think it's also another politician's trick. Because
Mm.
if people knew how similar they are in real life, they wouldn't have the animosity towards each other.
This is how
People
I
over there,
feel
yeah,
everywhere, across all cultures and all people. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think Russians like living in the middle of that huge continent. They care about having enough food in the fridge, watching their favorite show, having their car working more or less to take them to work and back home, having enough money to take their family on vacation at least once a year during the summer when they can go to the sea to have like a week or two on the beach,
Mhm.
swim and stuff like that. Having their kids healthy and their grandparents healthy, making sure that like they're stable in their life and they have something a little bit saved for like their golden years.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about the big stuff like politics and all that, because all of this is basically people who don't have real lives come up.
Yes.
People who live real lives, like, they care about their loved ones, they care about people who surround them.
Mm-hmm.
But, others come up with great ideas to, force everybody into believing into something.
Yeah.
When you have a real life, you care about yourself, your loved ones, your pets, your everyday life. Yeah. Russians, like, if they are not brainwashed, they care about the same things. They care
Yeah.
about the loved ones, their pet, food in the fridge, favorite films or TV shows, going on vacation, having a nice normal life.
Who
But
Yeah.
doesn't
favorite
want that?
Yeah.
yeah, nobody
It's
cares about big politics in real
no.
normal lives. It's all
And
so superficial.
yes. And yeah, you find that I think that's one of the things that we've talked about several times. Jerrylyn and I both we bonded when we first met over like the study of like anthropology, cultural studies, things like that. And that's one of the things that I think has one of the reasons it's always drawn me in the study of other cultures and other people and the way humanity tends to naturally work. Because you do find throughout history, throughout cultures, on every continent, everything boils down to the same wants and desires across history. Everybody's always wanted the same things. They've wanted to be safe, they've wanted to be loved, they've wanted to be fed. And
Mhm.
it really doesn't, beyond that, everything else, like you said, is something that's come up because of authoritarianism and
Yeah,
power.
yeah.
And
Somebody
so,
is greedy enough to force
yeah,
everybody else into something because
yes.
they don't have anything better to do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I can think of a lot of
Oy
fun
vey.
things to do that
Truly.
that are not
Now,
dealing with
I know that are
politics.
not that, literally anything else. Now, we are kind of coming up to our hour. We don't want to keep you too much longer, but I think usually we like to ask one last question and then we like to do a fun kind of lightning round of non-serious
Absolutely.
this or that
Absolutely.
things. All right. So before we get to that, last question we always try to ask is, if you could speak to young queer audiences right now, if you had one thing that you could say to them at the end of this episode, especially who are from immigrant or refugee backgrounds, what would you want them to hear from you?
That is a strong question. I think the most important thing would to never let anybody force you to think anything that goes against your nature.
Mm,
You have an intuitive backbone. You have
yeah.
your own belief. It's always great to learn new things. It's always great to acquire new knowledge, new skill. Listen to other people's point of view. It's always great to be open to other people's opinion. Don't be closed-minded, but don't let anybody force their bullshit
Mm,
because only you know what's right for you. Other people think most likely they're pushing it on you because they want something, and that will not work. Follow your own nature. Trust yourself. If you make mistakes, you make mistakes. We all come here for the experience. We come in the amusement park to ride all the rides. And in the end, we come back where we come from with the knowledge, feelings, experience that we got here.
mm,
All of this is temporary. The experiences we got here is the value of the journey.
yeah.
So don't let anybody to force their opinion of how your journey should go on you. It's your own. I think
I
that's
love
the most
that.
important.
That's beautiful,
That's amazing.
Eugene.
Yeah. That
Thank you.
was beautiful.
Yeah, that's really
Thank you.
beautiful. And honestly, wow, I'm gonna cry. Because I just think that's exactly what people need to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
we're gonna jump into the this and that.
Much more
Yeah.
fun.
So
Yeah.
Lighthearted way to
this is a
end.
lighthearted way to end. No context. You don't have to explain anything, and this is
Sure.
exactly what you said. Go with your gut.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. First one up: classical music or pop?
Tough. Neoclassic.
Mm,
Classical. Okay,
I like that. Coffee or tea?
Ooh.
Me too.
that
Not a lot of
that
tea
makes
drinkers. We
sense.
usually get coffee. Yes.
Russians love tea. Is it black
Yeah.
tea?
Earl Grey.
Earl
Oh, me
Grey.
Grey.
too.
Okay.
Always Earl Grey.
Every morning, Earl Grey.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl, 100%.
Beach or mountains?
Both.
Okay.
Can I please cheat and say both?
You
Sure.
can cheat. Sure. We're not going to force you here.
No.
Sorry.
Cook it.
Order
Order in.
Order
All
in.
right.
I like that. Okay, tacos or pizza?
neither.
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 Steak with potato. Always steak with potato.
Eugene, you are so Russian.
Very much so, yeah. I'm a steak and potatoes guy.
That makes sense.
I literally had steak and potatoes today from work
With
because I work for
on
a
the side.
catering.
Pickles. Yep. Allah would be proud.
Yes. Please give my love.
I will.
Give my
I
love to her,
will.
please.
All right, we got a
Okay.
few more.
Yes, I love those.
Plan it out or go with the flow.
I'm very spontaneous.
Mm.
I can plan something if it's like my parents visiting, but if it's just me or if it's me with a friend or something like that, I'm very spontaneous. Whatever I feel inside, like do, I'm open to any.
Love that.
All right, here's the hard question. Dogs or cats?
Cats.
Really?
I have 3.
The worst irony and the worst cruelest joke of this life is I love cats like there's no tomorrow, but since birth I was deathly allergic my whole life.
Oh.
Every person that
So
loves cats.
my phone looks like basically 45 subscription to cat shelter on TikTok and Instagram and Pinterest with all the subscription to the kitties and cats and like kittens rescues and everything you can imagine. And yeah, and no cat in real life.
Now I'm heartbroken.
I am very much still upset. It's been 100 years. I'm still upset about this.
I know. Okay, well, you can love from afar.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only option I have.
Yeah. Okay, Eugene, last one. Loud celebration or quiet moment?
Quite definitely.
They're nice when we can get them, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm quite okay. I don't know if self-sufficient is a correct word, but I'm okay sitting by myself in silence.
Mm.
I actually welcome silence in my life
That's a
because
skill.
It is.
it's a skill, yeah. And also it's a rare, very valuable luxury that I can only allow myself to have. So that's a gift that I sometimes give myself, like a moment, like 5 minutes of silence. It's not even a meditation. It's just 5 minutes where I'm just going to sit in silence. If it's on top of the mountain or on the beach, it's a
Yeah.
There you go. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Eugene,
you
for
so
joining
much.
Thank you
us.
so much, guys. I love spending time with you and I love your questions. You are absolutely great at it.
Oh,
Thank
you're so
you.
sweet.
Thank you guys so much
you.
for inviting me. It was lovely to spend time with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope I can watch you guys do this for many, many years.
Well, thank
I hope
you.
so.
Keep showing up even when it's messy. We'll see you next time in the closet.